All right. Hello, sports fans. It's July 13th, 2024. Welcome to Cleats by Dre. I'm Dre. Let's talk some sports. First off, thank you for all the listens, ratings, and feedback from our inaugural episodes launched this week. I appreciate it all. This is lots of fun. I love it as a new outlet for myself. Please keep the ratings and reviews coming. Now, today's topic, let's jump in. It's more retrospective, actually. It's a good summertime topic. We're going to talk about the great New York championship drought going on right now. We're going to analyze what exactly we're going through, what might have caused it, look at some comparable sister cities we might tip our caps to, and I'm going to tell you who I think is going to end up breaking this drought. So first, the benefits kind of being a multi-sport fan, right? Across different leagues. You start looking at this macro, bigger picture thing. Seasons come by one, and you start doing the math in your head. I haven't felt joy lately. Or really, with sports, it's almost always more painful to lose than to actually the joy of winning. I feel a lot of pain lately. So it adds up. And it's fun when there's a lot of cities that have a lot of teams to kind of compare this and see what's going on. For this exercise, right, we're going to focus on the traditional four major sports. So first, apologies to the NYCFC team, won the MLS Cup in 2021. I'd also say apologies to the Liberty, who are really good now, New York Liberty and WNBA. But they never won a title either. They're the only original WNBA team that hasn't. So they're not helping us either. So yeah, we'll focus on the Giants, Jets, Mets, Nets, Knicks, Yankees, Rangers, Islanders, Devils. That's 9 teams. Yeah, we'll count the New Jersey teams as well. The last time any of these 9 teams won a title was the Giants. Super Bowl in 2012, February 5th in Indianapolis. Side note, I was at that Super Bowl, as I mentioned in my first pod. Famous experience, as some of my business school friends actually said it was so easy to get around that city, they parked right next to the stadium on the street. Now, that's 12 and a half years. 9 teams in 12 and a half years. That's over 100 seasons of futility, if you add it all up. Quite incredible. But come on, we're New York. New York. We're the greatest thing ever. Yankee Stadium, the Garden. We have the Seinfeld Diner. We have the coffee shop from Friends. Maybe the fountain from Friends. I think that's in a studio somewhere. Good show. But look, championships, they're our birthright, right? We have the most by far. New York has 54 championships. Now, 35 of which are in baseball. Thank you, Yankees. 27. Mets 2. Brooklyn Dodgers 1. New York Giants 5 in baseball way back when. Now, second place is Boston with 40. They're coming on strong. It also needs to be mentioned, I'm whispering, half as many teams as New York. Then comes Chicago with 29. We have to start asking ourselves these questions, New York sports fans. Why nothing since 2012? Is there a curse? Let me ask you all, is there a curse? Did anyone see the Knicks injuries this past year? Don't talk about Tom Thibodeau there. Did anyone see Aaron Rodgers' injury? How come the Mets couldn't find a GM for a full year that couldn't stay out of being a criminal? How come the Giants couldn't find a head coach to last more than 2 years at a time recently? I guess few for Dable. We're cursed, baby. We're cursed in New York. Let's examine what happened in 2012. Let's see. All right, so in 2012, well, the Nets moved from New Jersey to Brooklyn in 2012. Now, we still count our New Jersey team, so that really shouldn't have shifted much. Though in 2013, the Nets traded away 3 first-rounders to Boston for KG and Paul Pierce, and that team with Joe Johnson, Darren Williams, Brook Lopez, honestly, one of the most boring, flattest, overrated teams. I actually didn't realize they made it to the second round of the playoffs that year, lost to the Heat. But also 2 of those first-rounders went to Boston and became, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You might recognize those names. Just won a title. Did this type of trade to a legendary rival set off some bad juju? You know what really did cause KD's toe to touch that 3-point line in the 2021 playoffs, forcing Game 7 against the Bucks to go to overtime instead of giving them the win there. And then did it really take a global pandemic and some extreme safety measures that somehow made it okay for unvaccinated visiting players to play at the Barclays Center but not home players, to cause that uber-talented big three, Durant, Kyrie, Harden, not to get chase a title? That's wild stuff there. I didn't think I was going to find that much stuff there on the Nets being cursed. But how about something even more embarrassing? A-Rod, anybody? Alex Rodriguez in 2014, he admitted to steroid use with the Yankees from 2010 to 2012, right after they won their last title in 2009. That can't be good for Mojo. The Yankees haven't been back to a World Series since then. Now, all the Red Sox did in 1918 was trade Babe Ruth. That sentenced them to 88 years in championship jail. The White Sox got caught cheating in 1919. They had to wait 86 years until 2005. Yankees fans, do you have the patience for, well, not quite 86 years, minus 15, so 71 more years? Oof. But I don't know. I don't think we're there yet with the curse. Which we're talking about, over 100 seasons of combined futility. But let's see, 2012. Oh, hurricane. Superstorm Sandy? Maximum sustained winds, 110 miles per hour. Largest Atlantic hurricane ever on record. Devastating in New York, New Jersey. Flooded subways, streets. Did this storm wipe our mojo? Maybe, but this storm did damage elsewhere up and down the seaboard. Not just a New York problem. So maybe let's think bigger. 2012. Wait a second. There was a movie. No one saw it, about a premonition about the world ending. Yeah, those Mayans. They predicted the world will end. Side note, it's interesting as I research for this, I can't find a lot of authors backing the Mayans' claims anymore. Hindsight 2020. Armchair quarterbacks. Those Mayan analysts. Anyhow, this is the one I'll go with. New York sports fans, we're living in the cursed time of the Mayans. You can't spell Mayan without NY. Yeah, I went there. Let's get back to sports a little bit. So let's put this drought in perspective. So who has the longest streak right now? Is it New York? It's actually not. It's our friends in Minnesota, right? The Twins last won in 1991. Vikings have never won a Super Bowl. Wolves have never won the NBA Finals. The Wild have been around since 2001 now in hockey, have not won a Stanley Cup. So let's do the math. 33 plus 33 plus 33 years plus 20 years, plus there's 2 years Minnesota had the North Stars, 121 seasons. Okay. Remember New York, we're at about 108. So a little bit more. But the thing crazy with Minnesota, too, is they also had a finals drought. They're in a finals drought. In 91, not only did the Twins win, but the North Stars also made the finals in 91 before moving to Dallas. No team from Minnesota has been back to the finals since. And actually, since 91, Twins won ALCS 2002. They lost to the Rally Monkey Angels. The Vikings have been to 4 NFC Championship games, pretty memorable ones too. I mean, obviously I know the Giants won the 41-0 beatdown in the Meadowlands. There's also the excruciating losses to the field goals back and forth with the Andersons against the Falcons. Favre had the throwback against the body against the Saints, and then Nick Foles stomped on the Vikings in Case Keenum. Wolves have been to 2 Western Conference Finals. KG. Long Island legend Wally Zerbiak was on that team, I believe. They lost to the Lakers. And then this past year, the Anthony Edwards team. Maybe they're on the upswing. And the Wild made 1 Western Conference Final. So that's Wilds. Yeah, that's a bad pun. We feel bad for you, Minnesota. But yeah, 33 years really without even a finals appearance. We're with you there. All right, New York fans, a little bit of good feelings, I guess. Longest streak in history, real quick, is actually Cleveland, 1964 to 2016. 1964, the Browns won the NFL championship. They haven't been to a Super Bowl since. And they also drafted Johnny Manziel. Indians, now the Guardians, they couldn't win the World Series in 95 or 97. Cavs got their one when LeBron came back in 2016. Pretty awesome series against the Warriors. And the reason they qualify here is the NHL, apparently, they had a team called the Cleveland Barons from 1976 and 1978. That's what Wikipedia is telling me. So Cleveland qualifies for our study. 52 years was a long time. Let's count the seasons. 52 plus 52 plus 52 plus 2 for the hockey. 158. Yeah, 158 seasons of heartache. Look on the bright side, New York fans. You're not Cleveland either yet. But they're out of it. They got their championship. How are we here, New York? 54 titles. Yankees, we're counting on you for half of those. You've let us down. So let's end this with some optimism. Who can break this? Who will be the next New York, New Jersey sports team to win a title? Let's be honest here. I started here. The easy choice is, I think it's the Liberty. I said no WNBA. But as of this taping, Liberty are 19-4. They're in first place. I always look at what the odds makers say. DraftKings has them plus 170 to win it all this year. That's 37%. Sure, that's not part of the exercise. But if they're September, October, I'll be going wild for Liberty. But this exercise, we have our nine teams. Let's look. Who's it going to be? The odds makers. DraftKings has the Yankees at plus 600. That's a 14%. I don't think DraftKings has watched the Yankees play in the last month. They've been in a rut. But okay. Knicks plus 950 to win next year. 9%. I mean, that's pretty good. I'm a huge Knicks fan. Like they have been putting it together. But I think there's something about breaking a curse. I think maybe the most cursed franchise has to do it. And no one has a more feudal history of all the New York, New Jersey teams than the New York Jets. Their last Super Bowl win in appearance was Joe Namath, Super Bowl III, 55 years ago. Haven't made the playoffs in 13 years. I'm not a big enough Jets fan to give justice to the futility over the years, but come on. Butt fumble. Darnold seeing ghosts against the Patriots. Zach Wilson dating his mom's friend. I think it was dating. This is only the recent futility. But let's do it. The Jets. I'll give a caveat, of course. If we fast forward a year and you told me that one New York team won a championship in that year, I'll go with the Jets. And that's a key caveat because they're clearly going for a 1-year window almost. As I explain this, I'm going to steal some logic here from a maestro of futures prognosticating, Mr. Brandon Anderson at the Action Network, who I follow. His X handle is @WheatonBrando. I tail Brandon frequently on long futures, as he's someone who really understands the risk and payoff, and also storylines. This is the guy that brought me a 2,500 to 1 win on Joe Flacco to win Comeback Player of the Year last year in December over Damar Hamlin, who had a pretty good storyline. He's a must follow if you not only want to make money, but you also want to follow and know more ball. So some of these talking points are right from Brandon. He's been on this since free agency. The Jets are taking big swings this offseason, focused on this very short window. On offense, right? They signed Mike Williams, wide receiver, formerly of the Chargers. Sure, he has his own injury concerns, but he was a beast. Him and Keenan Allen, they were problems. He was a $20 million a year player. Put him across from Garrett Wilson, now you have the whole field kind of figured out. The most important improvement, though, was on the offensive line. As I was looking at Pro Football Focus, the Jets' offensive line was 31st last year. They have them at 5th this year. So the Jets signed Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, who were both rated top 10 last year. Again, Smith especially is getting up there in years after his time with the Cowboys. He has injury concerns. They drafted Olu Fashanu in the draft. Could be their swing tackle. And, they could shore that up. Elijah Vera Tucker was injured last year. He's back. All in all, this could be the most biggest improvement possible, especially you consider the injuries we just talked about. Breece Hall actually finished second in total yards last year, playing with Zach Wilson, playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league, coming right off an ACL repair. Now, I believe the data does show that you actually get better. You really get back to your form one full year after, unless you're Adrian Peterson, the ACL injury. So is there more coming for Breece? I mean, he's an incredible talent. And of course, there's Aaron Rodgers, which I don't think there needs to be too much said about Aaron Rodgers. Health, of course. State of mind and being present, of course. But if he gets back to not even his MVP level play, I mean, I don't think he ever played with a defense like this Jets defense in Green Bay. And speaking of that defense, I saw an ESPN projection fly by that had the Jets having each of the best D-line, linebacker unit, and secondary in the league. Each one of those. So how about coaching? I don't know. Jury's out for me on Saleh, but, there's been extenuating circumstances. But the biggest thing, too, is the competition. In their division, the Pats are rebuilding. The Dolphins lost Christian Wilkins and some other talent. Are they a real playoff team anyway? I wasn't impressed in the game against the Chiefs last year. Bills lost a lot of talent. Not only Stephon Diggs on offense, but a ton of talent on defense. Why not the Jets? Sure. Plenty of other dominant teams in the AFC. Burrow's going to be back. Mahomes is still there. We could keep rattling them off. But why not? I mean, look, crazier things have happened. Let's not act like the Rangers, Yankees, Mets, Knicks are locks anyway. We're in crapshoot territory anyway, New York. We don't have a ton of choices. And if there's anyone that knows how to break a Mayan curse, I trust it to be Aaron Rodgers. Maybe in some kind of ayahuasca-fueled deep retreat, some kind of breakthrough. He will talk to them. He will connect with them, our ancestors. Mayans were not in America. Yes, they were South America, Central America. But anyway, I think the biggest point, you really don't break curses with discipline and logic. You break them with knuckleheads and weirdos. And there's not a New York team more due than the Jets to break through with some weird. So let's do it. Let's go Jets. Let's see what happens. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Take care.